I don't think a man would ever like, I guess, look at like a super wealthy dude, but you're saying like, oh, he might be dating like a Target employee or something like that. It's like maybe he'd be open to it, but it's just not common statistically.
I think it's actually very common.
I agree with Brian. I agree with Brian.
All right, some common ground here. We got some common ground.
Because high value men don't care how much their women make.
Yeah.
High value men don't care if you're freaking a janitor or a nanny.
They do care. They don't care if you don't make as much, but they care if you make too much.
They just want to make sure you don't.
But they care if you make too much. Yes.
That's what
I also agree with that.
No, it's not.
I don't think
it's
it
not
just
about the money.
depends on
It's
the partner.
really not
It's
about
about
the
just
money.
because
It depends
can
on
I
the
finish
partner
saying
that
no?
you're with, literally.
Go ahead, finish your
Just because of I've met some guys like that try to do it in the control aspect of, oh, I don't care what you do for work, so you're a Target employee, and then she's relying on him for money, you know what I mean? And then that goes sour, and then what? I can understand that part, right? But I can also understand like
it's not about the money. Like if it's about one, kind of how you're going to be prioritizing your time. For example, if we're talking long-term dating, I assume at some point there's, if you want to have children, a woman who really prioritizes her career over having kids, that is part of the calculus of if a man's going to want to get involved with a woman.
So let's flip it. Do you think it would be reasonable for a woman to say, I actually don't want a really like financially successful and career focused guy because I'm scared that he's not going to be there for me emotionally or to take care of his kids?
But I mean, that's sort of been the setup for time.
I know. In this hypothetical though, for this woman, do you think that that's like ridiculous of that woman to make the assumption that because he's financially successful and career focused that he couldn't be a good father and a good boyfriend emotionally?
No.
You think that's fine, or you think it doesn't make sense?
Can you repeat it one more time?
Okay. You have a woman who is telling you that she's not interested in dating a man who is that financially successful or career focused, and like actually sees that as somewhat of a negative trait because she's worries that he's not going to be there to raise his kids and that he's not going to be there emotionally
because he's too busy.
Because he's too busy with his career.
Are you asking me if that would be a valid concern for a woman to have?
Yeah, do you think that makes sense?
Yes.
Like, do you think it's possible for men to be good fathers and also career focused?
Yes.
Okay, why isn't it possible for women to be career focused and good mothers?
I didn't say that.
I'm making the assumption based off the reverse of it.
No, one has no connection with the other.
No, because you were saying men would reject women for making too much money because they would be maybe too masculine, too career focused, and they wouldn't be able to be at home and do like domestic duties.
Well, first off, there's a biological difference when it comes to actually carrying a child and giving birth to said child. That's a little bit.
You don't think single fathers can be good fathers? As good of fathers as
you are really putting I did not say that.
You didn't say it explicitly, but the things that you're saying are leading me to
assume
that you might think that.
I actually think single fathers typically do better than single mothers.
Okay.
In raising children. So that's not what I said at all.
Okay.
But I'm not sure where the connection is coming from.
Okay, here's the thing. Men and women are different.
This is like that Jordan Peterson interview with Kathy Newman on like BBC or whatever. So what you're saying is, that's not what I'm saying. How about the words that come out the words that come out of my mouth is what I'm saying, and I did not say that.
Okay, do you understand, Brian, that sometimes things that we say can have implications beyond what we explicitly say?
When you argue with semantics of like the words that you pick, it's literally straw manning. That's not debating in good faith.
I'm jumping to conclusions, then fine, I jump to a conclusion.
No, you're just here to clip farm, literally.
Okay.
Like,
are we moving on? I don't know where to go from
here. Straw manning. That's not really nice, you know?
Okay.
Look.
Sorry, I was being mean. I didn't mean to be mean. I don't know.
Like always with these like scenarios. Okay.
I'm trying to isolate variables and test like how far you go with it because in one respect you were willing to
you're arguing semantics.
You were willing to.
Can I say something? So I had this sugar daddy in Texas and he had like 3 baby mamas and 3 different kids with them. And he was such a terrible father because he would always tell me how like he was like, oh my God, my baby mamas do all the work. Like, bless them, because in the real world, like, when I go home to the house, those kids are way too much for me to handle and deal with. And I'm so glad that I get to leave that house and go to my condo at the end of the night and sleep by myself. So it's like, sad. And he's like a very high, like, he makes a lot of money, you know what I mean? And for me to hear that, I was like, ew, like, you're a shitty dad, because he buys the baby mamas like Teslas, and they all live on the same house, like all on the same street in a nice house and stuff like that. But it's just like, at the end of the day,
his presence is gone.
Yeah, his presence is gone, and he's working, and that's kind of what she was saying, and that's why I was putting that story in there, because I was like, wow,
it's
that's
like
crazy.
Maybe he financially provides, but I think a lot of women would feel like there's something missing from their relationship, and that's not going to be compensated for the fact that he's financially providing for them. If you don't have a partner who's there for you emotionally, if you don't have a partner who's there to be a present father, I think that's a disadvantage.
And not only that, but like, think of their kids too, like, or
like, I think women would take a man with a more modest salary who's more present in his kid's life than a man who is more financially
successful. That's a totally
successful.
different fucking conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a totally different conversation. Your original thing was, men are intimidated by women who make a lot of money. It's a totally different.
Who out earn them, not who make a lot of money. That's different. I just said out earn. You can be both. You can both be in poverty. Okay, you can both make $20,000 a year, but maybe like he makes $20,000, she makes $25K a year. Or I gave the example of a nurse and a teacher.
Okay, what about you?
Seriously.
What's an unfair preference that like men can have for women?